There's nothing worse than buying a tool just to have it end up sitting in the corner and collecting dust. I mean, there's obviously worse things, but you get the point. That's why I'm sharing with you 5 tools that I regret buying, so that hopefully some of you can avoid making the same mistakes that I did. And the last 2 may even shock some of you, but I promise I'll explain. And here's the thing, it's not because they're bad tools, it's really just because I didn't need them. Most shops have either limited space or a limited budget, and most of the time it's both. So it's really important that we get only what we absolutely need. Some shops build custom furniture, some only build cabinetry, and some only make cutting boards. And the needs of these shops vary dramatically, so try not to get caught up in what other shops have and focus only on acquiring tools that are going to allow you to build exactly what you want to build. The best example I have for this is a bandsaw. You'll find a bandsaw in most well-established wood shops, but it's something that I don't have. Would I like one? Absolutely. Would I use it? Yeah. But I know there's other things that I need more than a bandsaw right now. So for now, I'll stick with the good old jigsaw. But I don't always have that kind of restraint when it comes to buying tools, so I have a number of them that I regret. Number 1 is this clamping sawhorse thing. Give me a second to set it up and I'll explain what this is. The real name of this thing is a jaw horse, which combines a sawhorse with a clamping feature, which is great for anyone who wants to do some hands-free work and doesn't have an assembly table or anything like that. It holds the piece very solid. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's just something I've never really needed and regret buying. And stick with me, the rest of the tools are not quite this obscure. Number 2 is the Biscuit Joiner. And I know there's going to be a ton of people who agree with me and even more people who disagree with me on this one that love this tool, but for me it's just something I don't use a lot. In the 4 years that I have owned this, I've only used it twice, and neither one of those times were to actually glue in a biscuit. I've really only used it for its notching feature so that I could use some Z-clips to hold down a tabletop and a bench top. So for my shop, this is definitely something I don't need and wish that I hadn't bought it. And number 3 on the list is this rigid oscillating spindle sander. And this is one of those situations I was talking about where I bought this because everyone else seemed to have it. It seemed like every shop on YouTube or Instagram had one of these things. But I'm not really sure why, because other than not having a whole lot of use for it, it's also not a very high quality tool. It does come in at a low price point for what it is, but I find mine binding up all the time and this paper almost never stays centered to where I don't even want to use it, and it usually just stays under my router table. And it's for those reasons that I definitely regret buying this. Number 4 on the list are these Jessem stock guides, which I was hesitant to put on here because I know a lot of people love these things and swear by them. And Jessem as a company, they make great stuff, really high quality things. These are super high quality, and they do exactly what they're intended for, but I find that I just don't use them the way I thought I would. And if you're unsure what these are for, they apply downward pressure and pressure towards your fence as you're making a cut. So it pulls it in and keeps it flat on the table as you make a cut. But I've never really had a problem with that to begin with. So I just find that they get in my way more than anything. But there is something that I love using these for, and that's for dados and rabbets. They do an excellent job of applying that downward pressure, which gives a nice even depth all the way throughout any dado that you make. So for that reason, I don't regret buying them, but is it something that I absolutely need? Not really. Number 5, and the last on the list of tools that I regret buying, is the SuperMax drum sander. I know I'm going to get a ton of pushback on this one, and not everyone's going to agree with me, but this is my perfect example of me convincing myself that I absolutely had to have something for my shop and was dead wrong. I bought my drum sander right after getting a job for 72 doors that I had to custom make. And I thought, man, if I only had a drum sander, it would make sanding all those pieces and parts so much easier, and then I can run them through after they're glued up, flatten everything out. And that sounds great in theory, but what actually happened was I never really got the machine dialed in the way I thought it would. It definitely wasn't as user-friendly as I thought it might be compared to something like a planer. And it gave me a lot of headaches where it actually ruined a lot of pieces. It ruined some doors where it just would stop going through the machine and dig out a big dip in the door to where I couldn't even use them anymore. So after having that happen enough times to where I just didn't trust the machine anymore, I actually sold it. But But I totally get it. If you're someone who makes something like cutting boards, then a drum sander is probably vital to your shop. You probably use it almost every single day. But for me, it just didn't make a lot of sense. It didn't really help me the way I thought it would. And for those reasons, I totally regret buying it. And that's it. That's my 5 tools that I absolutely regret buying, and I know I'm not alone in this. So if you could, please let me know the one tool that you regret buying more than any other, and put it down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you like this type of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm Jordan. This is Everyday Builds. Thanks for watching.